Hi everyone, and welcome to Protocol 36, and in today's video I'll be listing up my top 10 must-have heroes for Marvel Spider-Man 2. Last week I uploaded a top 10 must-have villains for Marvel Spider-Man 2. I put it in the card if you haven't seen it yet, and in that video it was suggested by Justin Ayala that I should make a top 10 must-have heroes for the game. Also, I keep forgetting, if you have any suggestions for any videos in the future that you want me to make a video on, feel free to let me know in the comments. Also comment down below your own list of top 10 must-have heroes for Marvel Spider-Man 2. I would love to read them. Just before we get started, I just want to say, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, as that would really help out the channel, and I'm really close to 1,000 subscribers, so if you could also subscribe, that would mean the world to me. Starting up with number 10 in no particular order, Daredevil. Just wanted to get Daredevil out of the way because I think many of you guys know that I've been talking a lot about the character recently when it comes to discussing Marvel Spider-Man 2, so you would mostly know why I really want Daredevil to be in the game and have him team up with Insomniac Spider-Man in a mission, which would be awesome to see, especially if Kingpin were to return. And number 9, Captain America. Captain America and Spider-Man has a great relationship in the comics, and in the Insomniac Marvel universe, Peter has implied that he has met this universe version of Steve Rogers, so it would be cool to see their friendship in Marvel Spider-Man 2, assuming he's in it. I don't think Cap has made many appearances in Spider-Man games. As far as I remember, he was in the Neversoft Spider-Man game for the PlayStation 1, so I would personally love it if they added him for Peter Parker to team up with, possibly even fighting Hydra, and adapt a lot of the great moments together from the comics to the game. Could also see Steve and Miles even bond over the fact that they were both from Brooklyn, also just like in the comics. And number 8, Iron Fist. Danny Rand, aka the Iron Fist, is also a character who we know exists thanks to the Rand Corporation being one of the landmarks in Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. So imagine we actually get to see him teaming up with Peter and even Miles, as they are street level heroes and all. It would be awesome to see Iron Fist make an appearance in the Spider-Man game again and see how Insomniac could use him. Not to mention, it would not only be awesome to see him in the game, but also his best friend Luke Cage, which I have him for number 7. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Luke Cage didn't make an appearance in Spider-Man Miles Morales, as I thought his appearance would have been perfect for the game, and even took part in the collab video with Ronny Pugs last year, where we talked about it. Link is in the description if you want to check it out. Luke Cage is also one of the characters who met both Peter Parker and Miles Morales in the comics, and was even close to Peter, which was cool, and it would be amazing to see them teaming up together in the streets of Harlem. I don't think Luke Cage was referenced like the other street heroes, but it would be awesome to see him make an appearance in another Spider-Man game, this time by Insomniac. And while we're at it, I would also love to see him along with his wife, Jessica Jones. And number 6, we have Moon Knight. To say Moon Knight is a really interesting character would be an understatement, even though he isn't the most popular character in Marvel Comics. Thanks to Marvel Studios announcing back in 2019 that they are going to make a Moon Knight Disney Plus show, people will and started to get to know more about the character now. And even though we won't get the show anytime soon, it would still be awesome to see him teaming up with Spider-Man in the sequel, kinda like they did in the comics, and the last time he made an appearance in the Spider-Man game was, I believe, Web of Shadows, similar to Luke Cage, which would continue to further expand Insomniac's Marvel universe and continue to show how massive this world is, with the different types of characters and backgrounds that exist outside of Spider-Man. And number 5, Doctor Strange. Even though it would be difficult to add magical elements in Marvel Spider-Man 2, I believe there can be ways in which we can still have Doctor Strange in it without having them necessarily team up to fight a massive boss. I can see Doctor Strange be some type of guide for Peter, possibly even make a cameo in the game. Not to mention, it would be awesome to see them together in a video game again. Though that said, possibly if they could have them fight a powerful entity like Dormammu or Nightmare, I think that would be pretty epic, even if it was just for a side mission. And number 4, we have Iron Man. Now, I know that when Iron Man played a pretty big role in the MCU Spider-Man films, some people don't really like how connected the two characters are in the films, but in the Insomniac Spider-Man games, since Peter is already an adult and had Otto as his mentor already, I think it would still be a pretty cool idea to see Peter and Tony from this universe meet in Marvel Spider-Man 2, and see Tony try and hire Peter because he knows how intelligent he is and would make a valuable employee for Stark Industries. Since we know there's a post-it note that says "Call TS back, RE job offer," though it could be a reference to Tony wanting to recruit Spider-Man into the Avengers, but I think it's safe to say that he's talking about a legit role in Stark Industries. But of course, Peter probably wouldn't call back because he might become a teacher instead, which I hope happens. But yeah, in my opinion, it would be pretty cool to see Iron Man in Marvel Spider-Man 2. For number 3, we have Wolverine. Wolverine is also a character I've been talking a lot about when it comes to Marvel Spider-Man 2, thanks to their friendship in the comics, and it would also be great to see Insomniac's Spider-Man interact with mutants, especially one he has teamed up with a lot. Wolverine also appeared in Web of Shadows, and not only was it awesome to see him in the game, but also fighting him in Web of Shadows was fantastic. And maybe in Marvel Spider-Man 2 we could have them work together, because Juggernaut is causing havoc in New York, which would make Wolverine try and stop him by himself, because the other X-Men are possibly dealing with the rest of the Brotherhood of Mutants, and Peter sees this and tries heroes to help, which would be amazing to see in the sequel. And number 2, Fantastic Four. In my opinion, I feel like the Fantastic Four are the heroes who would make the most sense to appear in Marvel Spider-Man 2, with the game possibly exploring the symbiote storyline, since the Fantastic Four were the ones to make Peter realize that the suit was in fact alive. Obviously they might use Dr. Connors, since we know he's most likely going to be in the sequel, to play that role like he did in the 90s Spider-Man animated series, and of course Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind that at all, but it would also be cool for Insomniac to do something similar to the Ultimate Spider-Man video game, where you race Johnny Storm. And even though there are adults in the Insomniac Spider-Man universe, assuming that the Fantastic Four does in fact exist, which I would like to think they do, it will still be cool for the sequel to allow us to race him across the city, so we could further test our web swinging skills. Spider-Man PS4 also had races, so why not add a hero this time for Marvel Spider-Man 2? And number 1, we have Blade. I was going to put Punisher in Blade's spot, and even though I still want Punisher in the game, I think Blade would make an awesome addition in Marvel Spider-Man 2, especially if Morbius is going to be in the sequel, who was one of my must-have villains for the sequel. So it would also be awesome to see Spider-Man work with the Vampire Hunter to take down Morbius, possibly even see Morbius bite Blade, which was what turned him into the Daywalker, allowing him to move about in the sunlight. So if Morbius is in the sequel, then it would be the perfect time to have Blade in it as well. As far as I remember, I don't think he has made an appearance in the Spider-Man game, so this would definitely be it. That said though, if none of them appear in the sequel, heck, if there's no heroes in Marvel Spider-Man 2, I wouldn't mind at all, since Insomniac are focused on the Spider-Man side of things, so heroes don't really have to appear in the sequel, but if they do, this is my list of which ones I want to see. However, what about you guys? Which heroes do you want to see in Marvel Spider-Man 2? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like. I want more, subscribe. To begin, Podcast 36.